So I think I still have my cursor here. We're right here in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, which is 1 hour north of Calais, Maine. So if you go up through Maine and you cross customs in Calais, it's an hour drive. Now that's our clean plant. Our dirty plant is another 45 minutes inland in Sussex, where we do all of our stamping of steel, where our CNC machines are, where we weld FR and SAP New Yorker boilers that we still make for the Canadian market, right there. So this is one of our plants that we're going to show you, and this is the plant that we go to. This is literally, and if you Google our office, you will find that we are in a residential area on the water. But here's a 65,000 square foot manufacturing plant that is literally gorgeous. I mean, I would love to take everyone up there. I would love to have a huge party and everybody get there on your own, and we'll just party all night long, and we can do that. But Canada and the US keep changing their rules. I was just in Canada into another part, and while I was there, they decided to say, if you want to come back to the US, you have to have a negative COVID test. To go into Canada, you have to download a program on your phone called ArriveCan and take a picture of your passport and a picture of your immunization card and put that on there, and then you can come in. But to get out, you have to have a negative test before you get out. So driving, not so much. Flying, absolutely. So anyway, so there's the factory, what it looks like from the outside, from the water side. So now let's look at the wiring harnesses, where they're all made in house. The guy on the right hand side is an old bud of mine. He's been there forever. He's been making wiring harnesses because we never really subbed out 100% of our wiring harnesses.
Those are FTGs.
What's that?
Those are FTGs. Those are custom made.
Yeah. So right now on the left-hand side, they're working on FTGs, but on the right-hand side, you see a whole pile of TFT control panels that he is literally sitting there testing every single one to make sure that every single connection is working. So we've gone 100% back to the fact that we test 100% of our boilers and we test 100% of our wiring harnesses, and we now again build 100% of our wiring harnesses in-house. So they're phenomenal. We have these boards made up, so they have little pins in it, so you know how far to stretch the wire, so it's the right length. And when they're all done assembling these and pressing all the Molex plugs together and everything, then it goes to the testing phase. They all get tested, and once they're tested and approved, then they go out onto the manufacturing floor to be put into the boilers.
Please take notice to the slide. This is a rare event. There is a lot of solar controls on one screen. Get used to that. Don't get used to that.
God. So now let's look at where we bend the metal. So we used to have one of these machines where we bent all the metal for our machines. So we stamped the metal on our CNC machines over in Sussex, and then we bring it all over for it to be actually bent here, because bending, it makes no noise, right? The stamping is what makes noise. So this is we're bending it. This machine on the right hand side there is capable to become computerized with a robot, which will probably happen within the next 2 to 3 years once we have enough money to do it. But in the meantime, we have 3 of these machines set up where the guys just sit there and bend steel all day long for the inside of your boilers, which I thought was pretty impressive. On the left-hand side, you can see how the metal comes in from Sussex. On the right-hand side, you can see the guy stamping it. If you look up on the right-hand side, you'll see Emily, who's Emily Green, who is our new marketing director. So anything you see as far as new literature and whatnot is coming from Emily, which
is that Shane's arm?
I can't answer that. So no, because he's dressed too well. Shane never dressed.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Anyway, so now we're going into the production area a little bit. So here are TFTs coming down one production line. This is not the production line for the TRXs and the FTVNs. These are larger TFTs being manufactured that are going down for the testing area. So I just thought it was a cool picture to show you these things coming down. So here is the production area, in the beginning of the production area for the TRXs and the FTVN. So on the left-hand side, you can see a guy assembling the TRX heat exchanger with the TRX blower. On the right-hand side, you can see the production line of where we're actually assembling these. And if you look down there, you'll see 8 people that are actually doing assembly. And if you could see behind the guy in the maroon sweatshirt, you would see 2 people doing nothing but quality control. So here's what happens on this production line, and you guys can see the blue bins up above, and there's sensors above each blue bin. And they have to reach up and grab the part out of the blue bin. Then they have to grab the right tool that goes with it. And that tool has to turn X number of turns to X amount of torque before he gets a green light for that one part. And then we go to part number 2, and he does all the parts he does at that one station. And until he completes all his tasks, he doesn't get a green light to pass it on to the next guy. And if anybody of these 8 don't get it all right, they don't all get green lights, it doesn't move on. So one guy can hold the entire production line up, and this is before we test them. So here's a
Steve,
better look.
Steve,
I'm
too
sorry?
bad right there. Go back to the last slide. Can you zoom in on your computer screen? Can you zoom
No.
in on this? Because you see back there's all the boilers that were pulled off. See them back there in the corner?
I have a different slide for that.
Oh, you got one?
Don't have to worry about that. We have a different slide on that. Yeah, I do have a picture for that. So here's the actual production line. You can see the screen, the computer screen up here that's giving him the red or the green light. You can see the bins that he has to reach into, the controls, the tools are behind him. You can see the wires that are connected to the tools that are counting it, the software that's running it. And you can see the guy with quality control with his hands in his pocket, watching everything go on, and another quality control back here. And the supervisor from quality control is on the far right-hand side. But we do take quality control extremely seriously. We do make sure that everything is done correctly and to our specification before it goes anywhere. So this is just a zoom in from behind as the shell goes to the next person and gets a piece added and a piece added and a piece added. This is the most advanced production line we've had. Understand that up until 5 years ago, one guy had a cart wheeled over to his area, and he assembled the entire boiler himself, tested the entire boiler himself, did the combustion analysis himself, tested it for water himself, and then he put it on the conveyor belt to go get boxed. Now it's not that way. Everything from 300,000 BTU down, actually 285,000 BTU down, is done on this production line, where if it's not done correctly, it doesn't go to the next station. So that gives you an idea. So now we're down at testing. So now we've assembled this entire boiler, and you can see the boilers on the right-hand screen. You can see them coming down the production line over here. You can see them going to the testing area. Here they come down to a little lock area where they tip 45 degrees. He attaches the water and the gas to it, and then it tips up completely. And then he runs all of his tests. This tests all of the electronics. It tests all of the wiring harnesses. It tests for combustion leaks. It tests for combustion. It tests for gas leaks. It tests the water at 65 PSI and runs the entire thing. And if it doesn't pass on that screen, it goes to another area. It does not go down to get boxed. You can't even put a serial number on it until it gets through this line. Jason, you got anything to add on this guy?
No, just Malik. He says, who's the one who puts the FTVNs together? And you know why that is. gotta give that. What part? He said, what part is the one where the unions leak?
Well, Malik, and you say that, and to go back to the nuts leaking where the pipes go to the FTVN, we determined the torque spec to set the pipes to based on a boiler that was in inventory. So we literally, before this, when one guy was making them, he just cranked the crap out of them.
And that's going back almost 6 months now, so it's fixed.
2 years. Let's be serious when we took these torque specs. So it was on the FTV, and we went to the torque specs and said, well, this is what they were torquing them to. What we didn't realize is that was the torque spec of after it sat for 2 months, not the torque spec it was torqued to. So what we found is the nuts actually loosen up over time, and we've actually increased our torque specs. So Malik, you won't have that problem with the leaky supply and return nuts on the FTVNs in the future. So we did that change about 6 months ago. So as your wholesaler goes through his inventory, you shouldn't have to, as we say, tighten your own nuts anymore. So This gives you a better idea of what this test area looks like. Here he is working on a TRX 199, doing the complete studies on it. He's right now testing it for any gas leaks. He has a gas sniffer in there looking around for any gas leaks. And you guys know how sensitive gas sniffers are.
Now these units he's using are pretty expensive. There's a couple of them.
Yeah, we have 3 of these stations sitting there, which they just go down to the next station as they go through. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. So now let's talk about accessory boxes for a second, because I can't tell you how many times I've had people say, "Ow, my accessory box was short a bracket." So we now have this area set up because we couldn't trust people to do it correctly, that you now come in and you mark down how many boxes of accessory boxes you have. When you're ready to put a part in, you hit a button and a green light lights up, and it actually counts the number of whatever it is, screws or brackets or screens or whatever it might be, a relief valve. It counts the number that you take out.
Hey,
Then
this
you
was
have
the
to,
bad group, wasn't it? We were in the bad group, weren't we?
yeah, we were.
We were
So
looking over snooping.
then he has to put them in each one of these boxes. And it goes through. When he's done that part, he hits a button and the next green light comes on, and he has to pick X number of pieces out of that box and put them in these boxes. And as he moves on, he gets more green lights. And when he's all done, it will actually print labels out for that box so that it has a scan code on it so the guys can scan it at the end of the line. That will make sense more in a minute. But here they are assembling the accessory boxes, which take it to the max. Now, if you look here, right here on the left-hand side is Jeff Bainbridge. He's our head of production. And if you think a 6'4" actually, 300-pound man with a bald head wouldn't make you do it right, I'm just saying Jeff has a lot of power. Over here, this is Travis. He's our Western Region Canada director. This is Clifford Tate, the back of his head. Not quite sure who this is. He's one of the guys who's actually doing the assembly. This is one of the guys.
He was the guy who came up with the light system. See, can you show them the lights back there? How if each section, when they do the
lights,
box,
the little lights at the bottom of each one here. Yeah.
I'm right over there looking at them because I thought they were amazing, because every time he puts something in a box, he has to hit that light and then put it in the box. That was cool. That's why I was looking at it. But I was also looking at this was, you see the second shelf? That's more my shelf. Everything above that I can reach.
So if those of you who know Adam, who used to be in tech support,
yes.
Adam is now running on the production line or on the production floor, overseeing the stuff. And this is Adam right here, having a great time doing what he needs to do and doing it correctly. So now let's look at parts and picking and what we do. Here on the left-hand side is one of our parts area where they're picking the parts to go into assembly, making sure they're all checked in correctly, making sure they're there. On the right-hand side, this is a boiler that we pulled off. We pulled 1 out of 100 off, without even, after it's been tested, off the final line. We pull 1 of 100 out at random, pull it out and run it over to this area to check it 100% to make sure that it is doing everything that we said it was supposed to. So somebody's not, as they say in Austin Powers, shagging the dog in putting the stamps on everything. So now I have something that Jason wanted me to show you guys a minute ago, and that is our quarantine area.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, those of you who are on here, which we have a good number of people, these pictures have not been seen by anybody but 9 other people who were in a exclusive group that I trained last month up in Foxborough. But this is our quarantine area. And this quarantine area is done for multiple things. One, we will quarantine a boiler if it gets red tagged at testing, so we can see who screwed up and what happened to it. But the next thing we're doing is we're doing joint relaxation. Now, you guys might think that's something different than waiting for the nuts to loosen, Milek, but this is the joint relaxation area where we've pulled a boiler off every couple of weeks, and it has just sat on this shelf, and some have been sitting there for a year or 2. Some have been sitting there for only a couple of weeks, waiting for us to go back and test the torque on the nuts or on the joints to see if it's actually worked.
Shut up. Be quiet. I'll give you a bone later.
Sorry, you could read my lips, eh? So
give you a bone. Shh.
But so you can see that there's silver boilers here, and there might be some black boilers there, because we don't produce just our own boilers in St. John. We produce boilers for 2 other manufacturers, and I can't tell you who they are. You can treat me to a few drinks or a couple of beers, and I might tell you. But I can say that we do produce boilers for other people. Very similar internal parts. Some are made to their specifications, which aren't our extrinsic specifications. But you can see all the boilers we have sitting here that we are going to test in the months to come to see where everything's at, which nobody else does. I mean, this is a quarantine area. Some of these boilers have been up there for over a year to see what happens in your on your wholesaler shelf. It's really what we're looking to do. Jason, you look like you have something to add.
Nope, just reading, just smiling, having fun.
Cool. Joint relaxation. So
yeah. There we go. There's my bucket.
Here's our group. This is Jason, who's looking up the shelf that everybody sees at eye level. You'll see Jason on the right-hand side here. To give you guys an idea, for those of you who are wondering who's who in the pictures. So here's Jason Mangos. Here's Jeff Bainbridge. This is Emily Green. This is one of the guys from the floor. This is Andrew Stevens, Rob Johnson. Back here is Shannon, our head of HR for North America. Just a phenomenal woman. This is Shane Franson, who's our Western Regional. This is Dave Miller, who is our Chicago, or what we call Lakes East Regional. Travis, who you met earlier a minute ago, who is our Western Canada Regional. Dave Walsh, who is our boss, if you want to call him that, here in the USA. This guy is one of the guys from the production floor. This guy is one of the production floor. This is Jerry. Jerry's in charge of the production floor. Jerry's been around for a long time. This is Andrea Monteguarnieri. This is our boss. That's the president of the company. If you're not sure how to say that, that's Monteguarnieri. And of course, this is Clifford's back of his head. I'm back to Clifford. So, but this is the parts area where they're picking parts to be shipped to you. So, Jason, anything to add on that besides you looking up at the sky, thinking we're Jesus?
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how the hell they got that box off the top shelf. I would have needed a ladder for the second shelf. They thought that was pretty funny.
You need a ladder for the first shelf. What are you talking about?
Hey, but I'm lower to the ground. That's a good thing.
So anyway, so now this is the end of the production line. So here are boilers that have gone through the production, who have had every piece and every part and every spec and every turn of screw and every torque spec, and gone through the combustion analysis and leak test and yada, yada, yada coming down. And you can see that the accessory boxes are on top of each one, and there's actually a rating plate on the side of them. And what you can't see is the rating plates on the actual other side of these, because the rating plate's not on the right, it's on the left. But the guy here, in order to put these in a box, they have to scan the boiler, the accessory box, and what you can't see clearly here is the bag with your installation operation instructions and all that crap that comes in the literature bag. They have to scan all 3 of those parts before they can print a label to put it in this said box. So when you guys tell me you're missing an accessory box, I always ask the serial number, because that means this guy here is scanning duplicates and not putting them in the box, which is nearly impossible. Now you see this little screen here. Now, eventually these will be turned sideways and rolled through here and scanned for weight. Before they drop in, there'll be a pickup machine that puts them in the box, but right now we use 2 guys to pick them up and put them in the boxes. Jason?
Well, yeah, you know, the other thing is you can't have 2 of the same box because they're all scanned with a different number, a different serial number attachment. So that's what Absolutely. I'm saying. You're right. So before they even come here to him on the boiler there, they're already been scanned over by, remember where the lights were at. They're already been scanned over there.
So everything is scanned on the way through. And those of you who call me up and say, I have a problem with the boiler and my serial number starts with 33. No, all serial numbers coming out of Canada start with 21. Do you understand that? 21, that's the production plan. So if you're reading a 33, that's from the production line. That has nothing to do with the serial number that we, Jason and I track, and Ted also track the boiler from.
They even put the 21 number on the TRXs to identify that they're a boiler, not a parts kit. So you guys even see, if you ever take a TRX, the smaller ones, it says 2-1 before it.
Absolutely. So this gives you an area. This is probably the most amount of walkabout area that you have in our plant is right here. So they can pick these things up and put them in boxes, which is why we're going to go to a vacuum pickup system soon so that we can reduce this area because we need the square footage. We have so much going on in this place. Where we used to produce 100 boilers a week, we're now producing 1,200 boilers a week on just this production line.
It's a lot.
So now,
Oh, big boys.
these are what are they called, Jason?
FTGs, baby. FTGs. Fire tube giants.
So on the right-hand side next to Clifford here is the FTG 800. Over here is an FTG 2.4. And we still make these 100% by hand, meaning that this boiler gets mounted to this pallet, gets fully assembled. You can see nice K&N filters on them. You can see all this shit's on them. You see the controls on them. And they are now going to get tested by hand, hooked up to water, fully fired and tested, and run before they get the final jacket put on them and before they go into boxing or crating. So anything to add on that, Chase?
No, they're beautiful. And that guy behind there standing with the blue NTI shirt, he's the one that builds them. And then they get fired by Jason and tested by his engineering team.
Yeah, we actually have 6 guys who build these, do nothing but the FTGs.
These are personally built guys. These are.
And like all of our boilers, are 100% fired and tested and pressure tested before they go anywhere.
These are by the engineering team.
Yep, absolutely. So here's an FT on the left-hand side there. There's a FTG that's going into crating right now. It's passed its firing test, so it's being crated as we speak. On the right-hand side is our larger LX boilers.
Steve, there was a question that came through, and maybe let's ask it before we go any further. Do the guys, do you know off the top of your head, do they sign the boilers or sign each step? I'm sure, I know they sign the paperwork.
Yeah, so on the TRX FTVN line, each person does not sign. That's one production line because it's a production line. The guys who are building these, each person, there is a label inside the boiler that, of course, is signed off on. Now, if you guys were ever take a heat exchanger out, you would flip that heat exchanger over and you would see in marker, you would see name and initials and a date as to when that was pressure tested before it went into the unit. These guys are actually signing and running the labels on everything. And as part of our computer program, all the combustion analysis, all the testing procedures, everybody who's involved in that boiler is all on our report that is kept on the computer. So if it's not on a sticker inside the unit, or if you can't find the sticker in the unit, of course, it's in our computer. So that's why Jason and I, when you call us and we go, what's the serial number? We're not trying to be dicks. We can go back to quality control and we can find out every step of every place that this boiler started and ended at, so that we know we can go back and find out where we screwed up, or go back and correct the person who did it. So, question, Jason?
Nope, we're good. I'm just looking at look something up here.
So here's the FTGs being crated on the right-hand side. Are the LXs being put in house? You can see that that's all LX. This is an LX 800 here. This is an LX 600 here. This appears to be another LX 800. Back here is a large TFT being built. So you can see that the larger boilers, 300,000 above, are still 100% made by hand by a team. So it's usually a team of 2 or 3 that build each one of these boilers. So you'll love this. Here's a whole bunch of TFT 399 sitting there.
Waiting for boards.
Actually, they all have boards. They're waiting to be tested and boxed. So you can see they all have screens. They all have boards. If you look at them, look close, you can see it all. So these have all gone through, and the ones without the jacket have not been tested. The ones that have the cover on them have been tested. On the right-hand side, you can see Shannon walking away. You can see Richard ahead of our purchasing. You can see the boxes all stacked up in the pallets. This is one of the only areas where we can run a forklift down to deliver stuff from floor to floor, because we do take everything and pass it through 3 floors. There's holes in the floor that we pass things up and down through. So Jason, anything to add?
Nope, we're good. I'm just answering Tossi's questions.
All right. So now let's look at our R&D department. So if you were to come to the factory, Jason and I, or Ted, or whoever your regional sales manager is, along with our head of production, our head of engineering, would take you to our R&D department, where we are working on boilers that you won't see for anywhere from 6 months to 6 years down the road. When we think of a new product, we don't just, oh, my name is whatever, blah, blah, boiler company. I thought of this on Tuesday. We're going to come to production on it next Wednesday. Doesn't happen. We think things through a little bit further than that. So on the left-hand side here, this is actually a new TFT 500, and this is what this is. This is a TFT, and you guys have never heard of a TFTN 500. So here's a TFT 500. This is Gloria Colho, who is our Quebec regional sales manager. This is a guy from our R&D department. You can see the beautiful new color touchscreen that's in its. This was before the last upgrade, I can tell you that, which I just got done upgrading a couple touchscreens to that. But look at all the switches here. All these switches are here because we can tell that boiler anything we want to try to duplicate what you guys do in the field. Like, oh, hook up a thermostat that's giving a 24-volt back, or, oh, that's right, putting an external limit on it that is feeding 24-volt back to it, or, oh, not having ignition, or, oh, not having fuel, or, so we can fool this thing into anything we want it to. But this boiler on the right-hand side here has been sitting in our R&D department now for almost a year and a half in that form, which is its third reiteration to get to this point. So, so here's an interesting one. So on the left-hand side is the new floor-mounted fire tube boiler, which will be the same sizes as the FTVN is available on. You'll be able to have the supply and return or the hot and cold on either the right or the left, or both. You can have your domestic on the right and your heating on the left. You can have it VC first. You can have everything come out one side or everything come out the other. Everything is field convertible. And on the right-hand side, and I think I showed you guys this picture before, you can actually see my hand on my phone in the one screen. There's two screens on this. One because the lower one is for Jason, the upper one is for me, so that we can program it accordingly. This is actually a TFTN 725. So though I'm not supposed to tell you guys about the new and upcoming product, we will be releasing the beginning of next year. So far, the TFTN is available in 200,000, 201 and down. In the 285, 340, 399, 500, 600, 725, and 850 will be available the first quarter of next year. So how's that for a little teaser as to what's coming, right, Jace?
Yeah, you're gonna be impressed. Oh, to go back to Bill McKay had a question. Is there any pictures of the GF150? I think we finalized.
Wait, you gotta wait for it. Bill, wait for it. Bill, you have to wait for that. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I got GF150 Intel pictures coming.
Well, I think we have a brochure, don't we?
Yeah, we have a brochure too, but I have pictures of the actual unit that we were playing with, remember? So, and we'll talk about that more. So understand, folks, when we're in the R&D department, we have 9 regional sales managers from across the North America that are tearing these things apart, putting them back together again, making them go through all the hoops and jump through all the hoops and leap over all the barriers. And we're doing shit on this stuff that we know you guys will do in the field to try to fault these out, which is why we're there.
Changing the blower mounting.
Yeah, doing anything, changing a blower, putting in a fan, putting a new control on, whatever. Our test boilers that have been in the field for the TFTN, I've already come through with before we even went into production, there was a minimum of 6 things that I came through with what myself and my customers who have test boilers in their homes or in their businesses to change on them. So that's pretty cool, right? So, hey, Jason,
Yeah.
this slide's for you. I'm going to let you talk on this slide.
Oh, the zone panel. Now, you guys will get on the TFTN, you'll get
built into the TFTN, there'll be a 3-zone controller. And then you have the availability of this.
And add 3 more, which will give you guys access to control temperatures. Now, remember, the TFTN will change because the TFTN will be able to control temperature and for each zone. So you'll have 6 zones, and you guys will get your ZCZR terminals on here. You'll have your alarm contacts for your security systems, and you guys can do multiple units with the bus connections. Nice. This is nice picture. How'd you score this one? This was a nice picture.
I'm a sneaky little dog, aren't I?
He had it all lit up too. Wow.
So anyway, so you guys might think that we just went to the factory for a factory tour and hang out.
No.
But I went in there to get intel pictures because this is what I like to rock and roll on. So now, just so those of you who are here, if you're not sure, for those of you who are from away, of course, you know Ted Lowe and Gloria, you know, and this is the back of Dave Miller's head and Rob Johnson's head. But this
That's
right
Shane.
here,
That's Shane.
this is not Shane.
That's Shane.
Oh yeah, it is Shane. Yeah, I forgot the slick hair look. That's what I'm sorry. This is Shane Franson. But what I want to point out is right here in the khakis and the blue shirt.
The man.
That is the man. That is Jason Thompson, our head engineer.
That is Big Jason.
Who spent 2 days with us going through all of the new products. And if anybody's going to do it, Jason Thompson is absolutely the brains behind the product. I mean, he has a team of 6 engineers who work with him and 3 R&D guys. I'm telling you, this man is the man. If there's anybody you want to know, and Milik, if you ever wonder what Jason Thompson looks like, here he is right here. This is Jason Thompson. So just wanted to make sure you guys saw that. On the right-hand side over here is 2 different size TFTNs. Now you might say, why different sizes? Well, this one's a 154 and this is a 340.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Sure.
Okay. Kevin Gerard had a good question, and I'm just going to pull up the question so I read it correctly. Kevin Gerard said, will the new control come out with the boilers? No, Kevin, it's an option for that new control. But yes, to answer your second part of the question, you will be able to use it with a normal thermostat, and you'll get the features, unless you want to use the sensors that we have, the indoor sensors, which will give you more of the features because you'll have more indoor comfort.
So Kevin Gerard, to try to focus that answer into a point for you, the new TFTN will have a 3-zone controller in it that is for stupid thermostats that will control either zone valves or circulators, because whatever voltage you put in on the dead end switch is what you get out.
Right.
That will be built into all TFTNs. The additional control board that will allow you to have control of temperature in each zone and actually look at your delta T on the NTI thermostats is an addition. And there's an additional 3-zone panel that you can put onto the existing panel to make it 6 zones. So there's a whole bunch of stuff coming down the pike that we'll have in another webinar that will make that more clear. But what you need to know is the existing TFTN, when it comes to market, will have a 3-zone controller in it besides the control that we're showing you here right now.
Right.
Is that right, Jason?
Yep, and the TFTN will also be controllable zones. That's the biggest thing, because you can do temperatures.
So here's 2 different TFTNs, and you can see all the switches and bells and whistles and everything. And we literally sat here and cascaded them, put them together, did the quick startup guide.
They were fun, man. They were fun.
Ran through everything, made it do stuff that we didn't think we could make it do, and made it do it, and had a blast playing with these. And that's how we learn. And I hope to get you guys there. But now I want to show you something pretty cool.
Oh. Go through the setup wizard?
I'm not going through a setup wizard. I'm just giving you a teaser as to what the new touchscreen looks like. So this touchscreen has a quick startup guide that you hit setup on. It says quick startup guide or tech menu. Go to quick startup guide and you answer 12 questions and you are done. It is phenomenal, and it's available in 42 languages, which is pretty cool. You can change the language on this and rock and roll with it. It is absolutely fascinating. I can tell you guys this: if you put in your first TFTN, I'm sorry, your first TFTN, you see on the burner power on the right-hand side for the first 5 minutes you run this, it will flash. It'll flash. It'll flash. And what it's flashing is it's telling you, hey, dumbass, don't put your combustion analyzer in yet. I want to burn off all the oils, and I'm just getting used to making sure that I'm doing everything I need to do. And it will flash, and it will flash, and it will seem like an hour, but it's actually 3 minutes. It's just burning off all the oils, and it's running it between 50 and 65%. And once it's done, it goes solid, and you're ready to do anything you want to. So anyway,
Mike says we'll be able to watch TV on it probably soon.
Yeah. But I mean, look, it gives you your outdoor temperature, what's calling on the top right. It gives you your date and time, tells you the BTU.
It helps you purge it.
Tells you what's calling in the center, tells you your inlet, your domestic water temperature. If you're using one of our domestic water heaters with a 10K ohm sensor, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, 10K ohm sensor, know what I mean? Okay. And it tells you everything. You can touch on any of the zones. It'll tell you what it's doing, zone details, errors, boiler details. It's an amazing unit. It really is. So, all right. So that's enough about boilers. Bill Mackey, here we go.
There you go.
Let's unleash 9 regional sales managers who are used to the GF200 on the new GF150. And let us, for the first time in 3 years since its inception, rip it apart. And
That's
we
the
did.
old trade room too.
We literally took this bad puppy apart and put it back together again, didn't we, Jason?
Oh, yeah. You didn't see what happened the first half. That whole left, you can't see it, but where Julian's standing there, he has his hand on the right hand side. We took that whole left hand panel off. You don't see it. We put it back on, but that whole left hand panel was gone.
So this is Julian. He's part of our engineering team. He is the head of the GF150 project.
Yep. And the 200.
And he was in charge of the GF200 also. And he's telling us in this picture, oh, it's so simple to do blah, 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 blah. And Rob Johnson, Ted Lowe, Gloria Kohel, and of course, Jason Mango said, oh, yeah, we're going to try it. And Travis was there too. I sat back and took pictures. And these guys ripped this thing apart and said, oh, yeah, let's see how easy it is. And it was actually as easy as he said it was.
The only thing the fan had to change, because see this fan here, you got a perfect picture. So the fan didn't slide completely out. You had to take this screw off. Right where Kieran's arm is, there's a screw. So that screw has to come out, and they're going to make a rail. All you got to do is slide it in and out.
Yep. So we did make some significant changes to this thing in the 11th hour, which are just really, they're internal. That we're not changing any pieces. We're just changing how the pieces mount is all we did. So, you know, it's a couple of pieces of sheet metal, a couple of rails, and a little bit more wire. And we corrected this thing before it went to market, which is pretty cool to do. So, oh, and look, wait. So just so you know, here's Jason Mangos being buddy with Jason.
Big Jason, that's my buddy. Hell yeah, he is. He's a smart man. Stay close to him, man. He makes everything.
Thanks for watching the video today. If you'd like to check out more videos, see the link below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for all the future updates. And also check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.